You ever wake up one morning, step out onto your own land, coffee in hand, and watch somebody hammer a sign into the ground telling you that everything you poured your blood, sweat, and last dime into doesn't actually belong to you? That was me, standing there barefoot on my dock, watching a stranger in heels and a corporate blazer slam a metal post into the dirt like she was claiming the moon landing. 4 months of back-breaking work, 15 grand I didn't even have, gone with every swing of her hammer. And the worst part wasn't the sign, it was the way she looked at me, like I was the intruder. Let me back up a little. 6 months earlier, I was a 45-year-old landscaper who couldn't sleep and spent nights scrolling property listings like some people scroll dating apps. House after house, same old cookie-cutter neighborhoods, HOA fees stacked higher than my truck mileage. Then I see it, 30 acres, dirt cheap, with a swamp that looked more like an open sewer than a lake. Most people would have clicked right past it. Me? I saw possibility, or maybe I just saw the challenge. Either way, I emptied my savings and signed the papers before the ink could dry. That swamp became my obsession. Weekends disappeared. I pumped out sludge so thick it smelled like death itself, hauled truckloads of muck, rebuilt the shoreline stone by stone, tested water samples like some crazed scientist. My back gave out more nights than I can count. I slept in my truck with protein bars for dinner, and I lost track of how many times I thought, "You're out of your damn mind, Rob." But slowly, so slowly, I watched that pit turn into something worth fighting for. By August, the water ran clear as glass, fish returned on their own, dragonflies hovered like jewels in the morning sun. I built a dock, sat with my coffee, and for the first time in years, felt like I'd actually built something permanent, something mine. Then came her. Denise Walker, president of the Maple Ridge HOA, though she introduced herself like she was royalty. I remember yelling across the lake, "What the hell are you doing on my property?" And she doesn't even blink, just smooth as ice, marking community territory. This water feature belongs to Maple Ridge under covenant law. My laugh was more of a choke. "Lady, I spent 4 months saving this lake. I own this land. I have the deed." She gave me that little smirk. You know the kind, like a teacher humoring a slow student. "That's wonderful. The community appreciates your effort. But it was never really yours." I should have thrown her binder straight into the lake, but instead I followed her to her shiny black Lexus, where she pulled out official documents with seals that looked just a little too blurry. She tapped her manicured finger on a map showing my land inside some magical red boundary line. "Jurisdiction," she said like it was gospel. And then she started snapping photos of my dock, my filtration system, every improvement I'd made. Click, 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 like she was cataloging evidence. I'll be honest, my first thought was, maybe I'm crazy, maybe she's right. But my gut told me otherwise. So I started filming her, right there, my phone up like a weapon. The moment that camera clicked on, her whole act shifted. The condescension melted into something colder, professional, careful. That's when I knew I wasn't dealing with an amateur. This woman had done this before. The following days were a blur of paranoia and realization. Neighbors I'd never met started showing up, hinting that my project might flood their basements. A community meeting was called, and when I showed up, it was like stepping into a rigged trial. Denise rolled in with a projector, horror show slides of failed ponds and sinkholes from God knows where, and spoke with the kind of polished authority that makes people stop questioning. She painted me as some reckless outsider destroying property values. Every time I opened my mouth to defend myself, I felt the room turn colder. By the end, I realized these weren't neighbors, they were hostages. Hostages of her power. See, Denise had leverage on everyone. A realtor whispered it to me later, trembling over her coffee in a diner far from town. She told me about hidden files, tax fraud, building violations, secrets Denise had collected like ammunition. Everyone in that community was under her thumb. And now me? Well, I was the new target because I wasn't playing along. That's when things got dirty. One morning I woke to bright orange flyers in every mailbox. Claims that my lake was full of toxic algae, unsafe for kids and pets. Same day, my landscaping business reviews tanked overnight with one-star lies. Then came the chain link fence, 8 feet tall, around the entire shoreline of my own lake, courtesy of an emergency HOA vote. My clients started canceling, contracts evaporated, and I dropped 17 pounds living on gas station burritos and panic. But here's the thing, Just when I thought she'd won, I remembered something. Months earlier, while hauling stones near the spillway, I'd dug up a rusted lockbox. I'd tossed it aside, too busy to care. Now, desperate, I cracked it open with a locksmith's help, and inside was a dead man's lifeline. Old maps, survey pins, photos of the lake decades ago, and a notarized statement proving it had always been a natural water body, not some artificial feature the HOA could claim. A letter too, from Stan, the man who'd owned the land before me. He'd seen this coming, written it all down, and buried the proof. The last line of his letter chilled me. If you're reading this, she already tried. With that evidence, I finally had a fighting chance. My lawyer filed responses. We gathered everything. Emails showing Denise altered maps, security footage of her sneaking in at night with industrial chemicals, even recordings of her coaching an old neighbor to lie on video by threatening his grandson's job. The pieces stacked higher and higher until it wasn't just a property fight anymore. It was a full-blown criminal case. The day of the hearing felt like walking into a movie. The courtroom was packed, reporters shoulder to shoulder, neighbors whispering. Denise strutted in like she was untouchable, head high, papers neatly stacked. For a moment, I wondered if I was about to be crushed by the machine she'd built. Then the evidence rolled out. First the maps, side by side, her forged one against the county's real one, the fake seal blown up on the projector. The room gasped. Then the footage, her face lit by my security cameras, pouring chemicals into the water at 3 a.m., her voice sharp and clear. I want that lake dead. Completely dead. You could have heard a pin drop. One by one, her allies cracked. The old man admitted he lied to protect his grandson. The realtor confessed to years of blackmail. Even a board member broke down, admitting Denise had siphoned HOA funds into her own accounts. And then, finally, Denise herself snapped. She shot up, eyes wild, screaming that the lake should have been hers, that she built the business while her ex-husband wasted weekends fishing, that she deserved it. All that polished armor fell away, and what stood there wasn't a president or a neighbor. It was a wounded, bitter woman who'd rather burn everything than let someone else have peace. The judge didn't need long. Fraud, extortion, environmental crimes. The gavel came down hard. For the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe. But here's the truth. I didn't really win. The lake was poisoned, my business scarred, and I'd never get back those nights sleeping in my truck with my heart pounding. What I did gain, though, was clarity. I rebuilt, not just the lake, but myself. I opened it to the community, not as controlled property, not as leverage, but as a place for kids to fish, for families to sit on the dock and watch dragonflies dance in the sun. And maybe that's the irony. Denise tried to take it by force, and in the end, I gave it away by choice. So now I'll ask you, what would you have done if someone showed up with forged maps, poisoned your hard work, and turned your neighbors against you? Would you have fought like I did, or would you have walked away to save your sanity? Drop a comment. Tell me what justice means to you, and let's see whose side you'd be on. Because in a fight like this, there's never just one truth. There's the law, there's the heart, and then there's what you're willing to sacrifice to hold on to what's yours.